Fifth grade lesson 2.2 is divide by one-digit divisors. This is what we worked on last year, reviewing it, dusting off those cobwebs, and then we'll work our way into a future lesson of dividing with two-digit divisors. Our essential is how do you solve and check division problems. Let's unlock the problem. Jenna's family is planning a trip to Oceanside, California. I like it there. They will begin their trip in Scranton, Pennsylvania, and will travel 2,754 miles. Let's highlight that. Over 9 days. I'm going to highlight that as well. If the family travels an equal number of miles every day, evenly split, right? How far will they travel each day? They want us to underline the sentences that tells you what we're trying to find. We are trying to find how far they will travel each day, and then circle the numbers that we need to use. We highlighted those. You can circle them in your book, though. All right. So we know when we're splitting something equally, we're taking the amount of miles that we're splitting up, and then we're splitting it up into the amount of days that they're traveling. So we're dividing 2,754 divided by 9. We can estimate. I know that 27 is a multiple of 9, so I'm going to round that to 2,700 to make that estimate easy to do in my brain. You're always, when you're doing estimates for division, you're using numbers that you know are multiples to your advantage. So if I can see 2,754 and 27 is a multiple of 9, I'm using that. That's where they get 2,700 divided by 9. 27 divided by 9 is 3 with 2 zeros on the end. So we know our number is going to be somewhere around 300-ish. The answer is going to be somewhere around 300-ish. And we also know that the first digit, whatever it is, will be in the hundreds place, not the thousands place. Hundreds place. Okay, so we go ahead and do our division. They're telling us, hey, yeah, you can skip this step right here where you say what number times 9 gets me 2, and we've been putting a 0, and then the 0, and then we get a 2 down here and bring down the 727, because we're just going to end up with 27 again. That's where this came into play, where they said, you know, you're skipping that. You're going to go into the hundreds place instead. Okay, fine. So 9 times what number gets me close to 27? Actually, 9 times 3 gets me exactly 27 in this case, with 0 left over, and bring down the 5. Now I can't skip zeros. Now I have to I have to be precise from here on out. 9 times what number gets me close to 5? 9 times 0, there's nothing that gets me there. So I end up with 0. 9 times 0 is 0. I get 5, bring down the 4. 9 times what number gets me close to 54? Actually, 9 times 6 is exactly 54. Keep in mind, this goes a lot faster if your multiplication facts are memorized. If those aren't memorized for you yet, be working on those. This becomes much simpler if you have them memorized. It's still doable. If you don't, use a grid to help you, but it's much simpler, much faster, and much less frustrating once you have your multiplication facts memorized, and you will be dividing in 6th grade and 7th grade, 8th grade, and on. Okay, so my final answer, 306, which is very close to my estimate. So since 306 is close to the estimate of 300, this answer is reasonable. Jenna's family will travel 306 miles each day. Division and multiplication are inverse or opposite operations. Inverse operations are opposite operations that undo each other, and you can use multiplication to check your answer to a division problem. So if I did a calculation and I did 614 divided by 6, and I got 102 with a remainder of 2, I can check this with the opposite of division and do 102 times 6, and I would get 12. 6 times 0 is 0 plus 1. 6 times 1 is 6. And then I had that remainder 2, so we'll just tack that back on there with addition. And there I got 614. So 614 divided by 6 is 102, remainder 2 is a correct answer. So you could always check your division by doing the multiplication here to make sure you get the answer in here. They're related to each other. So keeping that in mind, given a problem like this where they say, what number divided by 7 equals 63? Well, I can go ahead and say, well, I know the inverse of division is multiplication. I'm going to multiply these together to find out how much that is. So 63 times 7 will give me this value because those are inverse operations. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 6 is 42, 43, 44. So this number here is 441 to make that true. Let's take a look at this one. They did most of it for us. 752 divided by 6 comes out to 125-ish. There's a remainder amount. And so we just need to find out how much. We can just do the division one way to find out what the remainder is. Or we can do this multiplication, 125. I want to do that in a different color. 125 times 6 and find out how close we get to 752. How much more would we need? So let's go ahead and multiply. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 2 is 12, 13, 14, 15 with a carryover. 6 times 1 is 6 plus the carryover 7. And I get 750. 2 more will get me to 752. So our remainder must be 2. Big say, you can write this out. 752 equals 6 times 125 plus our unknown number, which we discovered is 2. Okay, we're on the Share and Show. At any point where you feel like you are ready to try it without me, feel free to pause, try it, and then play to see the answer. We have 624 divided by 8. 8 times what number gets me close to 6? Nothing. So move over. Let's do 8 times 62, or 8 times what number gets me close to 62? Well, 8 times 8 is 64, and that's just a little too high. So we'll go a little bit less than that. 8 times 7, which is 56. Subtract, oh, I have to borrow there, 6, there we go, 12 minus 6 is 6, 5 minus 5, 0. So check, make sure this amount is less than my divisor, because if it were more, I could have gone another time. It's fine though, it's less than my divisor. Bring down my 4. 8 times what number gets me 64? 8 does. 8 times 8 is 64 with a 0 remainder. And then they say, hey, check and make sure that you got the correct answer. So they're just trying to get you to understand the inverse operation here too. So we're going to take this 78 times 8 and calculate it and hope that we get 624. We should. 78 times 8. 8 times 8 is 64. 8 times 7 is 56. Add 6 more. 62. And we did get 624. It all checks out. You can pause this one if you want to. I'm going to go on to this one. 4 times what number gets me 3? Nothing. So I'm just going to move over. 4 times what number gets me 32? 8 does. And that is exactly 32. Bring down the 2. 4 times what number gets me 2? Nothing. And I do this time have to say, so I can't just skip and go again. I have to say after that first part. And that's a 0. 2 left over. Bring down the 0. 4 times what number gets me 20? 4 times 5. Multiplication facts in my head makes that really helpful. And I get 805. This means 805 times 4 equals 3,220 because division is the inverse of multiplication, or multiplication is the inverse of division. So let's check it by doing the multiplication. 805 times 4 better give me 3,220, or else I've done something wrong. 5 times 4 is 20. 4 times 0 is 0 plus 2. 4 times 8 is 32, and winner, chicken dinner. All right, last one. 1,027 divided by 4. 4 times nothing gets me 1. So instead of doing the 0 and then just continuing, I'm skipping over. 4 times what number gets me close to 10 without going over? 4 times 2 does that. 4 times 2 is 8. Subtract, and I get 2 left. 4 times what number gets me close to 22? 4 times 5 does that. 4 times 5 is 20 with 2 left. 4 times what number gets me close to 27 without going over? 4 times 6 is 24. I think that's it. 6 is as close as I can get. 24. I get 3 left over. And yes, this amount is smaller than that. So I end up with a remainder 3. So when I do my check, I'm going to go 256 times 4 to check and make sure, and then I'll add 3 to it because of the remainder. So we have 256 times 4, 24. 4 times 5 is 20, plus 2, 22. 4 times 2 is 8, 9, 10. And then add the 3 remainder, and I got it. That's all this lesson is about. I think you're good to go on Think Central, but let me know if you need more practice.